Central London. This is the epicenter of the city. There's so much here. We've got the West End theaters, bars, restaurants, clubs, tourist attractions. But the thing is, because there's so much, it's hard to know what's good and frankly, what's So I'm gonna give you a little teaser of the Casual Tourist Guide to Central London, my travel guide that helps you to avoid the not so good stuff and see and do all of the local things. We're gonna start with getting some coffee at this cafe that is really unique and interesting. Let's go. We're about to have coffee in a toilet. This is a Tendon located in Fitzrovia, and it's a cafe that's in a disused Victorian public toilet that sat dormant for 50 years and then got transformed into the cafe we see today. When you go downstairs, you can actually see parts of the original porcelain urinals and the Victorian tile floors. Go down into a Tendon to have a good cup of coffee, and they do brunch food and snacks as well. And the ironic thing is there's actually no toilet at this cafe. We're in Neal's Yard, a cozy, colorful pocket in central London. It all started back in the 1970s when an entrepreneur and activist, Nicholas Saunders, opened up the first health business, and it just flourished from there. To this day, a lot of the businesses that are here are health and wellness focused. A couple places that I like to go while I'm here is CVS, which is this amazing French wine bar. There's a Barbary, a restaurant that is inspired by the food from the Barbary Coast. And there's St. John Bakery, which is iconic London, and they are famous for their really good donuts. So you can't go wrong with coming to this spot and going from there. We're just outside Seven Dials Market, and this is a great place to come if you are near Seven Dials or Covent Garden and you want some yummy but affordable food. The cool thing about here is that there are tons of different food vendors selling lots of options for what you can have for lunch or for dinner. They've also just reopened this one section called Cucumber Alley, which has even more options for food vendors. Also, the entire place is covered, so it is British weather-proof. Let me tell you about a couple of my favorite vendors. There's Club Mexicana, who do amazing vegan Mexican food. And there's also Yum Bun, which does Taiwanese buns that are delicious. Let's check them out. So many options here, and actually a bunch of new places I've popped up since the last time I've been here. But I'm gonna stick to what I know and get something from Yum Bun. Can I do the lunch set, please?
Yes, what ones would you like?
The tofu one.
For you, enjoy, thank you.
Thank you. One of the best activities you can do while in central London is to go see a theater show. We have a world famous theater district here. It's called the West End, and we have tons of shows that you can see. Just behind me is the world's longest running theater show, Agatha Christie's The Mousetrap, but there's tons of different options depending on whatever you want to see. A couple of my favorites include The Lion King, amazing, and also The Book of Mormon, which is hilarious. If you like books, collectibles, vintage items, then come to Cecil Court. This is a pedestrianized street with Victorian-style shops, many of which have been here for a few centuries now. This is even where Mozart lived back when he was touring Europe in 1764 at the ripe old age of 8 years old. It's also been said this was possibly the inspiration for Diagon Alley in the Harry Potter series. So if you want to go shopping and feel like you're stepping back in time, Cecil Court is the place to come. If you're looking for an Edwardian era cockerel diamond enamel brooch, we've got it here in Cecil Court for the low price of £2,950. You're sorted. There are a couple really neat shops here. This one over here is Alice in Wonderland themed. And then this one here is all about music. So there's music novels, nonfiction, but also they sell sheet music.
When you're choosing what tours to book for your London trip, it can be difficult because there are a lot of options and it's hard to know what is going to be worth your time and money, but most importantly, also what's not going to be a snooze. Well, let me introduce you to Walks. I have recommended this tour company to my followers for years because they turn a visit to a typical attraction into an incredible experience where you'll find yourself saying, wow, I never would have known that on my own. Walks do tours of the classics like Westminster Abbey and the Houses of Parliament, but let me tell you about one of my favorite tours of theirs, the VIP Tower of London After Hours tour. You tour the tower at night when it's shut to the public, and you get to see the very special ceremony of the keys, which is a 700-year-old tradition of locking up the tower. So many of our followers have told us that they've loved the tours that they've booked with Walks, either in London or around Europe and the US. So go book one of your London tours with Walks. Just scan this QR code on your phone to see all of the tours they have in London, or click the link down in the description box of the video.
You're never gonna struggle to find a place to drink in central London, but one place that I love is the very cozy, very sexy 10 Cases wine bar. This wine bar is quite unique because they only order 10 cases of each wine that they have, so they always have a changing menu. And in their 10 years of operating, they've never served the same wine twice. There's two parts to 10 Cases. One is the bistro, which is a bit more of a restaurant vibe, or there's a Cava Van right next door. That's my favorite part. It's more of the wine bar vibes, and it's walk-ins only, so you don't need a reservation. Let's go drink some wine. Never have to ask me twice. So I've gone for a Tempranillo. It is a red wine from the Rioja region in Spain, and it's delicious. I think that's correct. What is there to do in North London? Is it worth visiting? I get these questions a lot, and the answer is a lot and yes. So in this guide, I'm taking you around North London to show you some of my favorite places to go and things to do, as pulled from the Casual Tourist Guide to North London. Now, remember that London is a huge city, so even though we're focusing on just North London, we will be traveling around quite a bit, but the first place we're going is just down the road there. This is Redemption Cafe. They do amazing brunch food, really good coffee. One of the reasons why I picked this as one of my favorite cafes to visit in North London is because it's a social enterprise. They have this incredible prison program where they train prisoners in barista skills so that they have more of a chance of getting a job once they get out and less of a chance of reoffending. And some of the staff that work in the cafe were a part of the prison program. So the money that you spend here is going towards an amazing cause. Plus, this cafe is really dog friendly, so it's really good in my book. This is Hampstead Heath, one of the most beautiful parks in London, and it's huge. It spans 800 acres or about 3 square kilometers. For North Londoners, this is the lifeblood of this area. People come to exercise, walk their dogs. There's so many dogs. So many dogs here. And they can even go swimming in the many swimming lidos that they have here. Picking Hampstead Heath for this guide was an easy one because it is the best park in all of North London. There's so much to do here that I made an entire dedicated video about things to see, one at Hampstead Heath. There's a link in the description for that. But for now, I'm gonna sit up here, enjoy the views of the London skyline from this point, which is called Parliament Hill. One of the points of interest that I usually recommend to people in North London is the Jewish Museum, but we weren't allowed to film in there, so instead I'm gonna show you Regent's Canal, and it actually works out perfectly because we're gonna walk all the way along it to get to the next place I'm gonna show you. Regent's Canal is what I consider to be kind of like a vein of this part of London. Londoners use it to get to certain places, to walk their dogs, to go cycling, and it's a really beautiful place to walk along yourself because you can go see houseboats that people live on. It goes past some beautiful architecture, and it's just a nice, calm, green part of the city. So we're gonna walk along the canal for about 30 minutes to the place that we are gonna go have lunch. Sometimes you need to adjust to the width of the canal and make sure you're always walking on the left side because that's the flow of traffic. You can get so many areas on Regent's Canal, and we're heading towards King's Cross, so we're only 3/4 of a mile from there. While I love a nice expensive restaurant, I also can appreciate a place that does delicious and affordable food, and that is where Itataki Zen comes in right here in King's Cross. They do Japanese food in a tapas style, and it all just happens to be plant-based but still delicious. If you come at lunchtime like we have, they do a set lunch menu where it's £13 for a main and a side. It's plenty of food, and it is one of the best lunch deals in the area. I'm right in front of Gaze the Word, but I'm not going to talk about it. I will let the person in charge do it.
My name is Jim McSweeney. I'm the manager of Gaze the Word, and I've been here since 1989. The Gaze the Word is an LGBT bookshop in Marchmont Street in London. We've been here since 1979, and originally it was a half bookshop, half meeting space, and over the years it's become more bookshop, and when we have meetings they happen in the evening. I think during lockdown, after we reopened, so many queer spaces were closed that people were flocking to it, and the really nice thing is the amount of teenagers who come in, often with their mums or their dads, because they can't go into bars and things. So it's a haven where they can buy books aimed at young adults, or books helping them to understand their sexuality or their gender.
I think it's time for a drink. We're gonna go up to the rooftop bar at the top of the Standard, which is all the way up there. Emerge onto the rooftop at the Standard and you'll be able to see over the city skyline and have a unique close-up of the clock tower of St. Pancras Station. You can order any drink you'd like up here, but their specialty is their Tommy's Margarita. And if you get a bit hungry, you can order nachos or other Mexican snacks from Decimino, a little red taco truck on the rooftop. Now, it isn't covered up here, so it is open seasonally, so be sure to check the website for opening info before you visit and make a reservation if you can. Welcome to South London. I'm Jess and I make travel guides for London, and today I'm going to show you some of my favorite things to do, see, eat and drink in the southern part of the city. A lot of tourists, when they come to London, they usually stick with just central London, maybe head to West London, and they skip South London, but there's loads of things to do here, so come along with me and I'll give you a little slice of the fun. First off, we're gonna go get a coffee at a coffee shop that has a bit of an interesting story. There are lots of places you can get a good coffee in South London, but I think that it tastes a little bit better when you know your money is going towards a good cause.
Hello, I'm Agata and I work in All Spy Roastery, which is the first enterprise in the UK that actually is helping homeless to get a job and a home as well, if it's possible. So if you come here and you buy our coffee or any coffee pack, we actually donate 65% of the whole profit of the company to end homelessness.
We are so lucky to have so many beautiful green spaces here in London, and one of the best ones in South London is this one, Brockwell Park. some of the things that you can do here, there is a beautiful cafe you can stop into, some dedicated exercise areas, and there's even a Lido, which is a public swimming pool, which I have featured as one of the things that you can do when you come to London in the summer. So watch that video next if you are gonna visit when it's warm. We're now in Brixton, which is one of the best areas in London to see live music, thanks to venues like the O2 Academy right behind me and Electric Brixton. We also have a bunch of other venues here that host smaller up-and-coming artists all the way up to the bigwigs. So if you're in London and you want to see some live music, definitely check to see if there's anything of interest on at the O2 Academy, Electric Brixton, or any of the other venues in the area. We're in Round Table Books and we're here with Mira. She's gonna explain what we're doing here.
Hi, so we started off as a pop-up bookshop on Cold Harbour Lane. It was to celebrate the first year of Nights Of. It's a publisher, a diverse children's publisher. They wanted to do something a bit different. The pop-up bookshop was in response to a report that said that only 1% of children's books had a person like from an ethnic minority represented on the page that was a central character. It was so successful. Brixton, the one question that they kept being asked over and over again was whether it was going to be permanent. And here we are. It's been a roller coaster, but we've also really extended that. So besides selling both now children's and adult books with representation in them, and that's LGBT, race and ethnicity, and disability representation, we now do a lot more community projects, because as a community interest company, we don't just operate in a way of just making money. We have to take that money and do social projects with it, and we really love that aspect of it.
We have stopped for lunch at Fish Wings and Tings. This place was opened by Trini chef Brian Danclair, and it is regarded as one of the best places in London to get Caribbean food. Back when it opened in 2012, it quickly became a Brixton staple. So let's order. I've gone ahead and ordered the vegetable roti. John behind the camera has got an oxtail, and we're gonna dig in. By the way, Tings in the name, that's like London slang for things. This is Gong. It's an ultra fancy cocktail bar on the 52nd floor of the tallest building in Western Europe. The name gong comes from the word dugong, a structural element of interlocking wooden brackets, a traditional piece of Chinese architecture that you'll see incorporated into the bar's decor. Cocktails here are not cheap, but they offer a much better value than having to get a ticket just to go to the Shard's viewing point and not have a drink. Plus, this is absolutely the best views from any cocktail bar in London. Definitely an option to keep in mind if you want someplace special to go when you're exploring London. Welcome to East London. In my opinion, this is the best part of the city. There's so much cool stuff to see here, so many good restaurants, so many good places to drink, and it just happens to be where I choose to live. So in this video, I'm gonna show you a small selection of some of the best things to do, see, eat, and drink in East London. So come along and let's start by going for some coffee and some breakfast. This is Ozone Coffee Roasters, and this is not just a normal cafe, it's actually like a proper restaurant. You could come here for breakfast or brunch, like any time of the day, and get something amazing to eat. Plus, they're really good coffee here. Plus, the kitchen is almost zero waste. We love it. This is the Barbican Estate. It was built between 1965 and 1975 as a way to regenerate the area, which had been mostly destroyed during World War II. Many Londoners now call it home here, as there are over 2,000 flats in the area. And it's a really unique place to come because the whole area is built in the brutalist architecture, which I personally think looks so cool. You can come here to admire the architecture. There's beautiful water features here, plus there's some places to get some food and drink. And there's the Barbican Center, which is a performing arts center. Also, the Barbican Center does architecture tours that you might want to hop on. Finally, one of my favorite things to do here is visit the Barbican Conservatory, which is home to tons of plant life from around the world and is completely free to visit. This is Nellie Duff Gallery. It's a shop that I could not include in an East London guide. This is not for the calm and traditional art buyer, but rather somebody who wants a piece that is quirky and eccentric and provocative. I love stopping in here to see what new pieces that they have on offer. Plus, the gallery is right on the world famous Columbia Road. So if you stop by on a Sunday, you'll also see the very popular Columbia Road Flower Market. London is always a good idea. Definitely agreed with that one. If you're looking for a souvenir, this is a good spot to come look because they do have some East London specific pieces like this one. E. Polici is a London institution when it comes to restaurants. Okay, so I've not been able to include it in this video because we've just not worked out the filming times, but this is one of my favorite restaurants in East London. It's called Campania. They do this amazing Italian food and Negronis. Oh, so good. East London is by far the best place to go street art spotting when in London. For example, we're in Bethnal Green, just down a random road, and this yellow flower behind me, that's a freaking Banksy. Yeah, it's been kind of like taken apart and destroyed a little bit, but they've tried to keep it there and revitalize it. So when you're going around East London, always keep your eye out for big murals or small little pieces. There's stuff everywhere, and specifically Shoreditch is filled with tons of great street art. This is the Culpeper Rooftop Bar, a beautiful rooftop garden that grows herbs and plants that they use in the kitchen for their first floor restaurant and for the drinks here on the rooftop. It's a relaxed yet lovely rooftop bar without the pretentiousness of quite a lot of other places around the city, which is why it's usually full of locals and why it made it to this East London travel guide. Also, it's the perfect place to come on a warm, sunny day and the place to avoid on a cold, rainy one. The rooftop is open air, so it's important to check the weather before you come. We came here anyway on this very cold shoot day just to prove a point. Welcome to West London. This area is known for having some of the most expensive real estate in the entire United Kingdom, but it's also known for having beautiful leafy areas and a nice, relaxing, chill setting. I'm going to show you some of my favorite things to do, see, eat, and drink around the area as featured in my casual tourist guide to West London. So let's start by going and having a really delicious brunch. We're right outside Paddington Station and also right next to Darcy Green. This is one of the coolest places that you can have brunch in London because, well, you're on a canal boat. This canal boat was originally created in 2012 for the London Olympics, but then it got a makeover and now it is a great place to have brunch, lunch, dinner, or drinks. Thank you. You guys know I love a vegan meal, so this is perfect. This is the summertime portobello. It's got portobello mushroom, other types of mushroom on top of activated charcoal toast, and there's pesto and vegan cheese and loads of other stuff. Looks really good.
has a platform. This is Paddington.
It is important to be comfortable with taking the train and the tube in London because even though we're exploring only one part of the city in this video, it's still pretty expansive, so you might not be able to walk everywhere. So don't be afraid to hop on the tube. We're only on it for 3 stops, but it's gonna save us about 20 minutes of walking.
Mind the gap.
We are in one of the most beautiful parks in London, right here in West London, called Holland Park. It's spread across 54 acres of what used to be Cope Castle, which was this big Jacobean mansion hidden away in the woods of London back in the early 17th century. Doesn't really exist anymore. I love this park because it's not as big as some of the other major parks in London, so it's super manageable for walking around, and it is so beautifully maintained and manicured. And if you come to Holland Park, you cannot miss Kyoto Gardens. This is Kyoto Garden. It was created back in 1992 to celebrate the Japan Festival happening in London at the time. It's a really beautiful spot. There's a Japanese Zen garden, waterfalls, a huge pond with massive koi fish in it, and there's even peacocks here. This is a beautiful part of the city, and it's a great place to come to feel like you're not in an actual city, except don't come when the kids are off school because, pro tip, it's very crowded. This is Bluebells, one of my favorite cafes in West London. It's right on Portobello Road, but right around the corner from Goulburn Road. And I love coming here for a coffee. They do very good coffee here. The food's great, very good homemade pastries. And on sunny, warmish days like this, you can sit outside and enjoy your food. I've ordered a scone, which 50% of the UK would say scone. Instead, I say scone. And the big debate always here is whether you put the cream first or the jam first. But I personally put the cream first and then the jam on top. That's just how I do it. I can't wait to see the comments saying that I'm wrong and I'm a terrible person. We're at Graphic Gallery, which is right off of bustling Portobello Road. And you always think of Portobello Road, you think of beautiful, quaint Notting Hill. But we're actually in the back of the gallery, and we're gonna be doing a graffiti class. It's gonna be cool. We're here with Jose. He is our graffiti teacher. He's gonna be teaching us everything that we're doing in the class.
Welcome. Thanks.
Okay.
Good for the right up.
Closer.
More white in top, not
Okay.
much. Go a bit farther away.
Farther away.
Yeah,
Like
that's
that?
exactly what.
Ooh. If you want to do some antique shopping in West London, everyone always thinks about Portobello Road Market, but I say skip that and come up a little bit north in Notting Hill to Goulburn Road. You can find lots of antique shops here selling super interesting pieces that you won't find anywhere else. And on the weekends, there's a market in the streets where there's tons of antique and vintage furniture and other types of things being sold as well. You'll also find lots of places to eat and drink on this road, and particularly if you like Portuguese stuff, there are a lot of Portuguese cafes, bakeries, and delis here. The next place that we're going is not Portuguese, but I still think it's one of the best spots in West London. We're now right in the heart of Notting Hill on Portobello Road at one of the best cocktail bars in West London, I think, called Trailer Happiness. It is a Polynesian style bar that serves up Caribbean food in a retro setting. If you like rum, this is the place you're gonna wanna come. Let's go have a drink. if you enjoyed this guide to London, I've got other guides for other parts of London, so click the boxes popping up next to me to watch them.